Hey Taste Wise kids, really excited to have you out to the farm today. We're going to take you all around and show you what we do here at Grandview. We're located in Forest Hill, Maryland, and we've been here for about 30 years. And the farm, we've been farming the way we farm now, which we'll see all today. We've been farming this way for about 10 years. So we're going to take you around, show you a bunch of animals, and have a good time. So couple maybe some fun things you can do while you're watching the video or afterwards, or if you want to come back and watch it again. You can find Forest Hill, Maryland on the map. So we're going to see cattle, egg layer chickens, broiler chickens, and pigs. And you can decide, and we'll talk about it at the end, but you can decide as we're going through the video, you can decide whether that type of animal is a herbivore, an omnivore, or a carnivore. And maybe you can take a pause the video and look those up if you need to, and see what that means, and then decide. And I'll give you some few hints while we go check out the animals, and we'll catch back up at the end and answer those few things. All right, here we go. So the first animal we're going to check out today are the cattle. And this is one of the groups of cattle we have. This is our, what we call our cow-calf herd, which means these cows have calves every year. And so there's a few of them out here, so we'll take a look. They eat all grass. They're in the winter, there's Dior, the horse. He's retired. He hangs out here and thinks he keeps an eye on everything. So he does look out for the calves. He likes to keep an eye and know where all the calves are and make sure that everybody's good to go. But he's going to block our view here. So here's some of the cows behind me. So there's a calf right there. Oh. He likes the attention. All right, bud, I got to do a video. Hold on. Let me go to the other side. All right. So there's a calf, right? I think he's getting right back there as a calf. So these cattle are Devon, Hereford, and Angus. We have a little bit of everything in our herd. Those, especially the Devon and the Hereford, are real good cattle for our system, which is 100% grass. They never get grain throughout their entire lives. In the winter, in the growing season, we bale hay, and in the winter we feed them hay to supplement what they can't get from the pasture. But they are on grass and only eat grass 100% of the time. So it's one of the kind of the unique things about the farm here. So we'll just take a video of the cattle. So we rotate the cattle all around the pastures here. Since they eat 100% grass, that means we have to keep them moving. So every day we make a new area for them, and we use this one wire of electric fence right there, and it's real easy to set up and take down, and we move them all across the pasture. So they've been back there over the hill, and they're going to move that way where the tall grass is. We move them one spot a day, and that means that they get a ton of fresh grass, a fresh area, and most importantly, the area that we've taken them off of gets to rest. And in nature, quick disturbance from animals and then a lot of rest. And that's just mimicking nature. Think about the herds of bison that used to roam across the plain states. They were huge. We almost can't imagine how big they were. They used to roam through and eat everything in their path, and then they wouldn't come back to that area sometimes for years. So that's what we're mimicking here, and it's really great for the soil, really great for the grass, and it really works well for 100% grass-fed cattle. Now we're walking up the hill here away from the cattle, and I'll just quickly introduce before we get to them one of the really unique things about the farm, and that is that we use egg layer chickens roaming on the pastures, and we pull a big house that they live in that they go into every night, but they can go out on the pasture during the day, and they clean the pasture. So they follow the cattle and they clean up the pasture. They clean up all the manure, they eat flies, all the stuff we don't want on the pasture. They do all that for us, and they do it, and they produce eggs. So I'm back up here on top of the hill where the egg layers are right now, and just like the cattle, we move them every single day, and they have no fence. They have a free roam of the pasture, so they can get where they need to go to do what we need them to do, which is to clean the pasture before it rests for several months before these animals come back around. These chickens eat a ton of good stuff. They eat bugs, they eat grass, they eat things in the dirt we can't even see. It makes them really healthy, and it makes for really delicious, really nice eggs. So the eggs that you eat come from this type of chicken, which is called an egg layer. So you can see this egg layer is searching around for bugs and worms and all kinds of, or a piece of grass she might want to eat. These are all female chickens, which means there are no roosters in here, which means that there would not be any chance of having an egg hatch. So these chickens are a type of animal. Remember, we talked about they would either be a herbivore, an omnivore, or a carnivore. And these chickens are the type of animal that would eat a little bit of everything. So you can, that is a little hint as to the type of animal they are, type of diet they have, which means they need grain to supplement their diet. And we have to give them what they can't get from the pasture so that they can survive. So because they need grain, we've chosen a really premium custom mix of grain that we've developed that has no soy and no GMOs. So you can look up both of those things and why that we think that's important. So we have about 300 egg layer chickens here on the farm to follow the cattle and clean up the pastures. They live in this structure here, and it is completely enclosed. You may not be able to see it in the video, but there's chicken wire on all these spots that look like they're open. And it has an open bottom though, so they can get to the grass and such at night. But they actually put themselves to bed. So they lay eggs right in these nest boxes during the day, and we collect them. And then at night they go in this door and we close the door, and they all get to roost in there at night, and they're 100% protected from predators. And then when the sun comes up in the morning, we just open the door, move the whole structure, and they come out for the day and enjoy their pasture. All right, so now I'm with a different group of chickens here at the farm, and they're in a different type of structure, and they do a different job here. So these are called broiler chickens, and these are the chickens that chicken come from, with the chicken that you would eat. These are the type of birds. They do not lay eggs. They're mostly males, and we grow these here on grass in the pasture, and then we butcher them and have them in the farm store for chicken. So similar to the egg layers, they have access to pasture 100% of the time. So this structure, I'm going to zoom out and show you, but this structure is completely enclosed with a lot of nice shade because it's hot in the summertime, but it actually has it's floorless. So they have a spot of pasture every day, and we actually move this structure with a tractor, and the chickens walk along inside, and we move this every single morning, which means it touches this spot in the pasture for 24 hours, one time a year. So it's a pretty cool system where we are able to, essentially, if you've been to a hotel, it's the same thing. They change out their bedding every day, and they have fresh bedding and a fresh place to hang out during the day. So we designed this to be big enough for the amount of chickens that are in here. And like you can see, it's floorless, so it's protected on the sides and the top from the elements, from the sun and the rain. But it's also floorless so that they can get to the pasture. And they also have to be protected from predators. This type of bird will not go inside by itself at night. That's why they have to stay in here during the day. If you remember, the egg layers will go inside at night, so we can let them out to free roam. But this is a great compromise where these chickens get full access to all this really nice clover and grasses, and it gets moved every single morning, which means they have a fresh spot every single day. They have water in here in these. The water comes down from the top, and it's hooked up to a hose, and so they get fresh water. There's one bird drinking now. They get fresh water 24/7, and they have grain to supplement their diet in these areas on the side of the chicken tractor, which is what we call this structure. And again, it's a soy-free, non-GMO custom mix of grain. And this type of bird, this type of chicken has to have more than just grass in their diet to survive. And so that'll be one of the questions at the end as to what type of animal these chickens are. All right, so we're still here with the broilers. So you can see I just showed you the inside, but here's the outside. We have several of these structures here that all hold birds. And you can see here what it looked like before we moved it this morning. So you can see how it's really important because it can get a bit messy with these chickens in there. But you can also see how the grass recovers very quickly up the hill there. So we're only talking about a week's worth of time before that grass looks like there were never any chickens there. It actually just looks a little bit greener than before we went over it with the chickens, which is pretty cool. So these structures, again, protect them from the sun and the rain and predators, but allow them to have access to pasture 100% of the time. All right, so we're in one of the areas on the farm now where we have pigs, and pigs like to live in an area that is about half trees and half pasture. So that's what we have for them here. You can see out here is a bunch of pasture, and you can see back here behind me there's a bunch of trees. We move the pigs just like the other animals. They get moved very frequently through the woods so that they have a fresh area and so that the area they've been to can rest. It's really important to have pigs on our farm because we have a good amount of wooded area, and it's hard to raise any other type of animal in that area, and pigs really thrive. There's one now coming to say hi. So just like, oh, there's more. Here they come. So just like the chickens these pigs are a type of animal that need more than just grass to survive. So we feed them a mix of soy-free, non-GMO feed to supplement what they can't get from the pasture. But they eat everything out here. They eat bugs and worms just like the chickens. We'll go up here in the trees and see if we can see some more pigs. But they eat bugs and worms just like the chickens. They eat a ton of grass. They eat bark. They eat roots. All kinds of good stuff. So we'll go exploring and see if we can find more of them. All right, well, that about finishes up our tour. Really appreciate you taking the time to visit with us here at Grandview Farm in Forest Hill, Maryland. You can check out our website for a ton more information about how we raise animals and how to purchase our products at grandviewfarming.com. Before we go, we'll talk about some of the answers to the questions we asked earlier when we started the tour. So we have cattle, egg-layer chickens, broiler chickens, and pigs. And we said there are 3 different types of animals. There are herbivores, omnivores, and carnivores. And so we wanted to put those animals into those categories. And so now's the time to write down your answers. If you think cattle are herbivores, omnivores, or carnivores. Same with the chickens and the pigs. And we'll give you, and then you can pause the video now, and then we'll talk about the answers. All right, now that you have your answers written down, the cattle are herbivores. They eat grass 100% of the time. The egg-layer chickens, the broiler chickens, and the pigs are all omnivores. So if those were the answers you had, congratulations. If not, that's all right. That's why we do these tours, so that we can learn more about these animals and the food we eat. So thanks for joining us. Have a great day.